Yes! We're live! Oh my gosh. Are you guys excited?
Super excited.
I'm
Absolutely
excited. Hey everybody, welcome to Superfan Builds Live. This is our show where we get top Hollywood prop makers to build something super cool for super fans of movies, video games, comic books, everything and everything. Pop culture. And this is live because I don't get to do that takeover again. So, and look, I'm live, guys. Feel me, touch me, pinch me.
You're touching for me.
Right?
Pretty live.
I'm real. So if you're watching this right now on Facebook or YouTube, we're simulcasting at around 11 o'clock-ish on July 12th, then you're seeing us live. So we need you to interact with us. We need you to send us your questions, comments on the Twitters or in the comments below or wherever you can type things to us, and you'll be using the hashtag SFBLive. Superfan Builds. That's what the SFB stands for.
I hope so.
Yeah. What else could it stand for? Let's not talk about that. Hey, so yeah, start writing your comments, start writing your questions right now. Again, hashtag SFBLive. And so we're talking with our two builders on the show. You got you both in the same show. This is a very rare occurrence. First time we're ever doing this, or anything like this. You guys built, or Fawn, you built the toothless couch.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
Which is in our first episode. It's from Dragons Race to the Edge. And it's on our first episode of Superfan Builds, and that's up now. And then we've got Shane Hammond from Set Masters, who built the DeLorean hot tub time machine.
This is true. Which
is going to be in our second episode, which airs a week from today, I think. Right? Yes. Does that sound right? Good. Well, Fawn Davis from Fonco, we'll start with you. I got some questions here built, right on my paper to start with, and then we'll get people hopefully chiming in with their questions.
I'm ready
to ask. But yeah, why don't you tell us? You're a prop maker. What got you into prop making?
Actually, I saw Star Wars when I was a kid. That was pretty much it for me. And then I saw the behind the scenes for Star Wars, and I saw that you could actually make models for a living. And I was really intrigued by this idea because I loved making things as a child. So growing up, I just always pointed my career into special effects and props and miniatures and all that kind of thing.
How does one get a career started? Like, where you just did it start with Legos?
Well, actually, yes, it did. It started with Legos. It started with anything I could. I used to take cereal boxes, turn them inside out, and build things from the cardboard.
That's weird.
Like just everything I can get my hands on to make anything with.
Yeah.
And then I got into carpentry, and then set building, and then miniature set building on Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay.
And then from there went into model making and miniatures, and it just keeps going.
You just never stopped.
Still doing it.
You just started making stuff and never stopped. Kind of
exactly.
Thing.
Yeah.
Shane, how about you? How did you get your start?
Kind of a similar story as far as the interest. You see, I would see things in movies, and I just thought it was always intriguing how they made that stuff. And I used to take a lot of things apart, but when I would put them together, they never looked like what they did when I took them apart. So rather than being an engineer, I became a prop maker.
Yeah.
That no longer looks like a clock. I think
schooling.
that's going to be a lock.
Yeah, my parents will never forget the day they gave me a screwdriver to play with. And I took apart everything in the house.
How old were you when that happened?
I think I was 5, and
really?
I discovered how screws work, and I took apart pretty much anything I can get my hands on. I don't think they gave me the screwdriver, to be fair.
Yeah.
I think I just found it and then discovered how that worked.
Were your first words lefty loosey, righty tighty?
Should have been. They were more excited when I learned how to put things back together.
Yeah, I bet.
Because it was just a mess.
Okay, you guys got obviously both of you an early start. It sounds like. In prop making, and then now your careers have kind of taken off, right? Both of you have been doing this for over 20 years. I say this every episode, so I know this.
Yeah.
And have worked for huge movies. Like, what are some of the best things you've built for some of the things that our viewers might have seen?
Right. Well, one of my favorites was for Elysium. We built a 12-foot wide, 12-foot long Raven. Was the name of the spacecraft, and crashed it into a giant landscape at 6 scale. For that movie. That was exciting.
Yeah.
And it was also a lot of pressure because we had to do it in one take.
Oh yeah.
It used to be you would do 3 takes, and then you would pick the best of 3 takes if you're doing destruction.
Right.
But that one we just had 7 cameras in one take, and it was a $500,000 shot.
Was
so
that
lot in a very few number of seconds.
Right. Was it because they like they just wanted you to put 3 times the effort into that one build? Is that why they only wanted one take? Or
I think you know, over the years we've gotten better and better at doing things in one take, and they, of course, you know, budgets are always a consideration. Visual effects in movies are just completely not what they used to be.
Sure.
It's out of control. You have to pack them so full. The budgets have not increased at the rate of visual effects in movies increasing. Right. So it's definitely tighter budgets, tighter schedules. We're still making movies in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
It's just packed with more. So
is it always sad to see your creations get destroyed, even though you know that's the life of them?
Absolutely not. There's something very cathartic about it.
Yeah. You're like, good, destroy it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you've been slaving over it, and then you're just like, okay,
yeah.
I want that thing to just die on screen.
Yeah, and you want it to be violent and aggressive and completely explode and destroy itself. Yeah.
Great.
It's fun. Highly recommend it, actually, for anyone out there with professionals.
What about you, Shane?
Of course.
What are some of the things that you've built for on screen that people might have seen?
Well, you know, the first Iron Man that came out, you know, years back, the puck in the middle of his chest that lit up.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that was kind of one of our first, like, really cool, I don't want to say one of the first, but that was one of the things that I really enjoyed, figuring out how to get the lighting inside of it and machining the part. And because I was a fan of the Iron Man, you know, series and comic books,
that's
like,
pretty badass.
Like, I'm actually making something for
You're the dude that's making it. Yeah.
You know, I'm putting something on screen that, you know, Tony Stark's gonna have. So that was cool. You know, I've always been a prop shop guy, so I don't have a lot of behind the camera work. Everything we do is actually in our studio, and so we're hired by prop masters, production designers, you know, directors sometimes, whoever, producers coming to us, and they kind of present us with what they need for the production. So a lot of what we're doing is actually in a prop house where we're just, you know, pumping out. We could be working on 3 or 4 projects and contributing to, you know, multiple shows at one time.
Right. Yeah, you're not only just doing one thing.
Yeah.
You guys are constantly doing like 5 things. That's what I notice when I walk into your shops. Just like you got 20 things going on, and it's like, it's like some sort of messed up Willy Wonka situation. But instead of candies, you're making severed legs and
it's one of the best parts, I think, about doing this stuff for a living is you never know what the client's going to walk in the door wanting.
Sure.
And it's just endless amounts of variety. It never gets boring. It's always something interesting.
Never the same thing twice.
Do you ever look at something and you're just like, no way, there's no way we can do it? Or do you always, like, how do you, when you're approached with something that just seems impossible, how do you, like, what's your process there? How do you tackle that?
Our slogan is, that's impossible, when do you want it?
Nice.
No, because people come to us usually when they want something impossible. They want something really difficult or unusual. You know, that's been our calling card for a long time. I'm sure it's been the same.
Yeah, for us, it's if you can't rent it or buy it, we'll build it.
Yeah.
And I think that's our willingness.
Good slogans, guys. You guys should be like slogan makers,
you know,
as well.
We're willing to work the hours, and I think that it's probably the same with Fawn. We attract crew members that we thrive on the adrenaline, we thrive on the challenge. It's a creative job, so you're constantly being, you know, handed a challenge and also learning new skill sets. It's the only job that I can think of where after over 20 years, I'm still seeking more knowledge on how to do more things better, faster, more original. We love the introduction of technologies today from 3D model building, 3D printing, CNC. But in my shop, and probably with yours, we still have anvils, hammers, and drill presses.
Right.
So we get to have it
you
all,
have like
so we can build
medieval
it all.
technology to today's technology kind of thing, and that's kind of that's neat. You have to stay on top of what's new, and and on top of what's going on with visual effects, like you were saying too, right?
Absolutely.
Like
the software is always changing. The technology is always changing. Even the chemicals that we use for molding and casting. There's always something new coming out that you want to experiment with, and it is a lot to keep up on, and it's definitely part of the approach is to remain a student in this career, for sure. You're always trying to find the new things, Yeah,
very cool. Do you have specialties, would you say? Or like things that you just love particularly to build?
When I got into it, when I was like, I'm going to open a prop shop and quit my job that pays really well, and and starve for like 7 years. So the one thing I really liked doing was making rubber weapons and rubber molds, and a company I was working for was doing a lot of that. And so that was, I would say, originally my specialty, and then doing the scenic paint work on them, and then making them look real. And eventually somebody came in and said, hey, I was actually for Power Rangers. They came in and said, hey, can you build this bed that looks like an invisible person sitting on it? And so I went out and bought a welder and had done a little bit of that. But that's sort of how the whole thing started. So we got into metal fabrication, mold making. Yeah. And now it's like our specialty is just delivering things on time. Like we don't.
Right.
It's like you kind of you get a group of people in there who all have their skill sets. And
right.
So my company doesn't really have one specialty per se.
Sure.
We're very well known in live event, and we're well known in the prop making world.
Yeah. Speaking of rubber guns, you got that Gatling gun over there. Why don't we just take a look at that real quick?
I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this is.
Yeah, it's real tiny.
Yeah, this is just a small little.
Just
thing.
a little guy.
Try it out.
Just a little cricket.
That's just a little.
Oh, you want to? Okay, I'll do it. Yeah, sure.
This
is right. This feels right.
It looks good on you. It looks good on you.
Good.
You should wear that too.
Do you enjoy working with me?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, good.
Yeah.
Good. This is amazing. I love it. It's like it looks like it would be so heavy, but it's actually rather light.
That's expandable foam. Yeah. That's a brush-in urethane skin.
Great.
And
I feel like I can destroy many zombies with this thing. I feel good about that.
With the help of CGI, you can take out any zombie.
Really cool. So, Fawn, what about you? Do you have anything that you just particularly love building?
Yeah, well, we do a lot of miniatures work.
Cool.
Fonco has done a lot of that for a long time. Of course, I worked in the Industrial Light and Magic Model Shop for 10 years.
Right.
And that was our specialty there. And we've done of course, there's creature work and costume work, and but the majority of the work was really in miniatures, and that's what we still, we do everything, but if we had to have, like, if I had to pick like a specialty, that's definitely the area. Is that
one of the miniatures right here? This little DeLorean you got going on?
Yeah, this will be in. Was it the next episode?
The next episode.
Your episode of Superfan Builds. This was you drove this.
I did. I remember. I just wanted to, I wanted you to talk about me, so that's why I asked that.
Yeah, it's a radio-controlled DeLorean time machine. They don't actually make those. They're not available in stores anyway, and so we had to build one special for the show.
Right. Yeah. This is not something you bought. You actually built this from pretty much scratch. So what's the process in building that? Do you?
Well, this one actually it was pretty quick. We have a saying: "Off the shelf is always cheaper."
Yeah.
Right. So we actually did buy a toy DeLorean and then a toy radio-controlled car and just. Combine the two. Yeah. Got it. It's a bit of a kit bash.
Did you have to do the lighting yourself, or did they?
The lighting came with it.
Oh, okay.
It's a beautiful toy. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you just bought two things and smushed them together.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do that whenever we can, because then you want to spend the money on the custom things.
Right.
So whenever you can, you just try to buy stuff off the shelf.
Makes sense.
It's
So we're getting some questions in from our online audience, which we're excited to ask you guys. So let's start with at Finian P. Murphy. What were your favorite childhood movies?
Well, yeah, for me it was Star Wars. Star Wars, definitely Star Wars.
Right. Do you have any others that particularly inspired you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I liked, thinking back, I like Superman. I like Star Wars.
Anything
Rocky. That wasn't sci-fi, but I loved Rocky.
I was like, what are the props in Rocky? His gloves, his muscles.
Anything an actor touches is a prop.
Right, that's true. It's true. It's not all just fantastical stuff, right? Like sometimes it is about making props. I'm sure a lot of times it's about making props that just like fit a period or fit the.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
I once had to make fake ice to pour on Nicole Kidman. Because you couldn't pour real ice on Nicole Kidman.
That doesn't sound boring.
No, you don't want to do that.
That sounds pretty exciting. What movie? What was that for?
It was Hemingway and Gellhorn
for a house party that she was having. But what was it?
Hemingway and Gellhorn. It was. I believe it was a cable movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Fake ice that poured. Do you still have the ice?
We still have some of the cubes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's rubbery and it's very
cool.
Well,
So
I don't.
I'll give you my
we
address
might.
later. It's fine.
That's kind of weird. question,
It's
Sandeep.
not weird. It's
No,
not weird. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, so let's go with. All right, let's start talking about the episodes. I mean, obviously, this is your past is great, but that we brought you in to make really cool props for our show.
Fine. We'll talk about your show.
So our first episode, Toothless, from from Dragon's Race to the Edge.
Yeah.
Really excited. Toothless is just such a lovable character. And I was told that no dragons were harmed during the making of this episode.
That is true.
Right? This is something that you built. It was
That's true. We lost a few model makers.
Right. But
to
no
dragons. But no dragons.
That's fine. I mean, they have to eat. They have to have lunch.
They do get hungry. And they're big.
So we have the full episode. I believe we're going to post that for you guys so you can, I don't know, I guess watch it simultaneously. You kids in your second screens, so you can watch both this and the episode at the same time. But the Toothless Couch is absolutely amazing. It's an incredible build. I mean, I don't think my fiance would be okay with me having that couch, because she likes adult things. But man, if I was a kid, I would want it so badly. So tell me about the process of putting that together and what were some of the challenges.
Yeah, we basically started with a drawing. This is Elliot Sirota, one of our concept artists, did this beautiful sketch here.
Gorgeous.
And then from that, I mean, that was great for establishing the size and just making sure the design would look good. And then we had to go into something more 3D for fleshing out the actual shape of the couch.
Yeah.
So we did this beautiful little maquette out of clay. That was, again, Elliot Sirota did that design.
Awesome.
And once we had that kind of figured out, we just started on the build.
Yeah.
And as you'll see on the show, we start with the understructure for that. And simultaneous, we have one of our artists sculpting the head out of foam, making sure everything is soft and
yeah, the details
fleshy.
on it are insane. I mean, you actually, if you look up close, you see the scales on Toothless.
Oh yeah, we got a beautiful
everything.
fabric that had these great scale patterns on it. And it was also very soft and velvety, Yes, it was beautiful. Everyone on the crew wanted to keep it.
Yeah,
like no one wanted to give this away. It turned out really, really good.
I just love the design of it too, because you feel like Toothless is relaxed. So like, of course you want to.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to curl up around the fan.
Beautiful.
We did study a lot of the artwork and things supplied to us by DreamWorks. Yeah, and you can see there.
We got a picture of it up on
a
on
map
screen right
of
now.
from the show that we made into a rug.
Awesome.
And the wing was a comforter, and that was made by Lauren at Castle Corsetry. So the whole
and it's
thing
actually
was
attached to the couch, like it's his wing, right?
Yeah,
you can pull
you
over
can take it off, or it velcros on, so you
cool.
can kind of pull over Toothless wing.
Right.
The whole thing, I mean, it just feels like you're cuddling with Toothless.
Yeah,
That's basically what we wanted to achieve, and I think we did a pretty good job of that.
Fine job. Let's see. We got we have a question from Helene Dina on Facebook regarding the Toothless Couch. How long did it take to make the Toothless Couch end to end? Like, just if you.
Gosh, I think it was 4 weeks, maybe. Yeah.
And how many people?
It was like 3 or 4 weeks. We do so many builds, I have a hard time keeping track, but it was somewhere around a month, yeah. And it was, we had one carpenter, we had a foam sculptor, of course we had Elliot doing the design work, we had, and then we had people jumping in and out, just kind of assisting with the process.
Right. If you had to take a stab at man hours, like what?
Oh boy.
Do some math. Ready? Go. We're live. Doing math live.
It's 80. No. 4. Oh,
Carry the one.
Carry the one. Yep.
Brutal. I'm going to say.
Yep. And then the coach.
Why you got to put me on the spot?
I don't know, like 100-ish, or is that?
Well, it's like, okay, 4 people.
Yeah.
It's probably 4 people, 4 weeks.
Yeah,
So
4 people, 4 weeks.
That's
Working
5
40
times
hours a
4 is
week kind of
20.
thing?
It's 200 hours.
So okay, it's one of
Did
our.
I do it?
That sounds good. I like it. 200 hours. Good answer. I say yes. You showed your work, and that's what matters.
Oh, 200 days. Sorry? Oh, I don't know.
It's early.
It is early.
It's early somewhere.
I math all day. Why do you have to make me math
sorry.
on your show?
I'm sorry. No, you did well. Hey, look, it was Helene Dina's fault, not my fault. Okay.
I'm sorry if I let you down, Helene.
So, well, let's move on to our second build, our second episode.
Do not ask me to spell, because I'm not in the mood for that.
Spell DeLorean.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. All right, so let's talk about this hot tub time machine DeLorean. I mean, this was an episode that I got to be on. I was really excited to be on this episode. It was so fun, and to see the the Superfan Get It was just awesome.
That was cool.
So what did it take to jam a hot tub inside? First of all, why a hot tub inside of a DeLorean? Is it merging the Hot Tub Time Machine movie with?
That was the concept that they brought to us. They
Yeah.
said, we've got this is sort of a title for a show, and can you do it so we can bring this? Can we make this real? And it was like, well, what do you want to do? It's like, well, we want to do a hot tub time machine.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. But
we knew that the fan was like through these parties, right? So I guess it was just kind of figuring out what would be fun at these.
When they said they wanted to put it in a DeLorean,
right?
it was one of those things like, you got to be kidding me. But this is again one of those things like, well, I want to do that because I know we can.
Right.
So why not do it? But it was definitely, it had its challenges.
Yeah. Do we have a picture of it to throw up, or a picture of something from the build? Yeah, look at that.
Yeah, so this
is like, tell us about what part of the process this is in.
Right there, that's we started on the outside and worked our way on the inside just because we could put more people around the exterior of the car. And the inside was just going to be sort of the final touch. Here you're seeing it on the deck that we put in our Superfan's backyard. So he didn't just get a build, he got a little patio there too. But this was outfitted with a sound system, all sorts of lighting. Right here you're seeing the mock-up of what would become, or what would be replaced with the actual spa that we put inside of it. Mm-hmm. And that looks like the flux capacitor that our guy Ed was wiring in there.
I'm just very impressed by the organization of the tools there. Just all nicely laid out. It's good, that's nice. Yeah. And so here, okay, Mr. Fusion's got to get in this thing.
So we didn't duplicate the car. So if you're looking here, it was really inspired by.
So it's not like because actually one of the things I learned was that there were many different types of the DeLorean throughout the series.
Right.
So it wasn't like you pulled a frame from one of the movies.
With respect to the franchise and to that movie, I didn't want to just copy it. Because this was sort of building our take. After all, this wasn't just the DeLorean time machine. This was a DeLorean hot tub.
Right.
So there was a fair amount of scavenging parts from surplus yards. So you're probably familiar with Apex and all the places we can go and get all of our fittings. And just figuring out how to put it on the car. And then there was a big structural part of that too, where when you're taking, now I do want to say, because I know there's a lot of DeLorean lovers out there, particularly if you're fans of Back to the Future, we did not destroy a DeLorean. This was a sick chassis that had lived its life, but we gave it new purpose. It was just, they'll see in the show. I don't want to give too much away, but there was no running, working, savable DeLorean used for this build.
Okay, so on the episode you're sort of shopping for parts essentially to kind of piece Frankenstein this thing
the
together.
Whole thing was just a mashing.
No
of
DeLoreans
parts.
were harmed during the making of this episode. No
Not
dragons,
one.
no DeLoreans. Very cool. We got a question from James Harold on Facebook, which I think you can maybe, because there's so many parts of making this DeLorean hot tub time machine. So, what was your favorite part of the prop building process as regards to the DeLorean?
The initial design where I sat down and I drew it up, and we actually use a really easy to use program for fast design. So I drew that up in SketchUp, and from SketchUp we actually had to take some of it and put it into a more advanced software called Rhino. Mm-hmm. But just creating it in SketchUp to get the guys dialed in on the big picture concept of it was pretty fun, because that's when you realize this just might work. We might actually be able to get a hot tub inside of this car.
Right.
And there were things like we didn't know if we were actually going to have to stretch the car or section it to get it in. So that was sort of, I wouldn't say sort of, that was an exciting part of it. And then setting the actuators into it, getting that thing to rise up and down. And that's always neat. Never gets old for me. Anytime I get to automate something or light it up, or there's something that I can, at the end of the day, hit a button and it does something if it blinks or
lifts a 2-ton car.
So I love that part of it.
Yeah, that's very cool. And seeing it, so is it the moment that it actually works is what really kind of
just the idea that it comes out looking as good or hopefully better than what you had in your head, because in your mind you kind of get a concept of what it is, and then when you actually see it working and you even hear it, like you hear the motors kicking in, and you watch the car come up, and you hope that it continues to go up.
Yeah.
Comes back down.
Right. Very cool. Well, we got some other props here that you guys wanted to show off, which we're happy to take a look at. Why don't you take us through? Fawn, why don't you start with something you brought,
Yeah,
and maybe take us through some of these cool objects.
Yeah, these are actually all from Superfan Builds, and it's just kind of a smattering of props that show different techniques that we use in fabricating things. So this is a vacuform plug.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I was on that episode.
Yeah, you actually pulled the vacuform off of this.
Dude. Yeah,
you get to see that on the show here. So that was from a Voltron build, and then this is a tentacle that is sculpted and and cast.
I mean, it looks like it's ripped
out
off
of
the body of a squid. Yeah,
yeah. But the interesting way that this is done, though, is actually we sculpted a straight tentacle, and then you pull it from the mold while the plastic is still soft and posed it.
Oh, okay.
So that's what makes this unique. And then we have the claws there from Toothless.
Yeah.
So those are hand sculpted, and then we have a little silicone mold here.
Cut to me with claws.
Shows how we actually cast the parts from this material here.
I'm sorry. When I see these are like toys to me, so I start playing and I start listening to people.
And you can see actually, and this is how we tested the different kind of paint techniques on it, because we wanted to make sure it had enough sheen to make it easy to clean, because if it's porous, it'll get dirty and you won't be able to clean it. Because we do think about like the practicality of someone actually owning this thing and having it in their house.
Right.
You know, like on the Toothless couch, the comforter comes off so you could wash it. All the seat covers come off so you could wash them.
Nice.
The tail comes off.
Unlike other reality shows that'll remain unnamed, we think about them actually keeping these objects.
Wash your props. Thoughtful prop makers.
And this is fun. This is a stacked set of laser cut parts. So we use a laser cutter a lot in this type of fabrication.
That's one of our favorite tools.
Yeah. And that'll be in one of our the robot episode coming up.
Robot, right?
Yeah, we designed this here.
An episode all about robots.
Yeah,
because we all know.
So that one's coming up.
Our future overlords.
Yeah, and then this is Toothless Eye. So this is all hand painted, and then this ends up getting backlit. So it's like a very brilliant green. And this also is copied exactly from the artwork we were given from DreamWorks. It was really fun. I mean, that's a part of the builds that I hadn't anticipated being so interesting and rewarding. But when we do all these, we work with DreamWorks, we work with Rovio, we work with all the companies that we are. Pulling their IP. Yeah. So that part of it has been really exciting and interesting too, to have that back and forth.
Right,
with
like they're sending you artwork and you're actually recreating, whatever it is, Big Bird.
Yeah, well, it just makes it so easy for us too to really nail the look of all these things, And
I love that too. It's like you also get to appreciate the sort of like how hard how specific they are with their designs for their characters, and how if Big Bird's eye is like a little bit off center, then it doesn't look like Big Bird. It looks like some sort of freakish other creature, and it's like you got to get this stuff really nailed down.
You got to make the IP happy.
Yeah. But it makes a difference. Like even the feeling of seeing it, you're like, okay, that's Voltron, that's Big Bird, that's Toothless, But if you're like just a slight millimeter this way, and it's what is that?
There's also like the fan in me too, that really enjoys the show, because we get to meet the designers, the actual designers of these, franchises. So it's pretty fun.
We didn't get to meet anybody. We're just like, go build it and get it right, or you're done. So
We can't bring you out to
take me out of the shop, man.
So we also got some pictures from WWE and Angry Birds, I believe. We can kind of check those out for these future episodes. Let's see. Here's the Angry Birds one. We got an Angry Birds pinball machine. That's going to be really cool. Are you a big Angry Birds fan? Do you guys play any online?
I'll be honest.
I'm actually totally addicted to the Angry Birds Star Wars game.
Oh, really? I didn't even know they had
here.
I played Angry Birds when it first came out, obsessively.
Right.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah, it's
3 in the morning. My wife would be like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "Oh, I'm just checking my text messages." It's like, why do I keep
really? How come
hearing,
you're like constantly swiping and pulling? Yeah, that's awesome. All right, let's see. We got some other questions here. let's check in. Okay, Rambo Penguin, Rambo_Penguin. I think that's a very... That's a character.
That sounds like something we need to build.
Yeah, I know, in and of itself.
I like it.
He asks, what was the first prop that you saw that made you say, I want to be a prop maker? Was there a specific prop from Star Wars, or a specific prop from Indiana Jones or something?
Yeah, for me it was the Star Destroyer from the opening scene.
Okay.
In my mind, that's
the
still
massive...
the most iconic miniature shot ever is
Right.
the opening to the Star Wars New Hope from 1977.
Yeah.
Seeing that and then finding out later that that spaceship model was only 3 feet long.
Yeah.
Completely blew my mind.
Wow.
Completely blew my mind, and then I of course became obsessed with wanting to make one.
Right. How about you, Shane?
I think probably Battlestar Galactica. Well, that was the
sure.
series.
The
that was on
original
TV.
series?
Yeah, the original series with that was it Rex Reed? I think was on that.
Sure.
And I saw he actually came to a function in his outfit, and I saw this just whole thing. I was like, man, that is so cool. And then as a kid, going to Universal Studios and going on tour and seeing how everything was built, it was just, I think it's all was inspiring to what would one day become my career. And I just didn't want to follow the suit and tie route or corporate. I just wanted to be able to keep making stuff.
Sure. Hey, if you're just joining us, we are Superfan Builds live right now with our 2 top Hollywood prop makers who make our builds every week. We're available on YouTube and Facebook for you to enjoy. The first 2 episodes will be on YouTube and Facebook, and then we're on Go90 exclusively for all of our episodes. So you can tweet. We're live. That pause that was awkward just then was live. There's nothing they can do about it. They can't edit that out. So that means you can interact with us right now. Hashtag SFB Live, and we'll be answering your questions as they come in. We've got a question right here from Old P. Peter. Okay, Old P. Peter. I'm not gonna ask where we think that name comes from. What was the most difficult Superfan build for this season that you guys did?
Ooh.
The most challenging one.
Most challenging.
Yeah, for us, I think it was Robot Kegerator.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Why is
because
that?
a lot of engineering goes into serving beverages from a robot, and actually building a robot is rather sophisticated as well.
Yeah.
So
and plus, you guys kept testing it out, I'm sure, and
yeah, a lot of testing.
I think for us, it would depend on who you ask in the shop, but Maxwell over in our shop would probably say that Minecraft was the most difficult because he painted for hundreds and hundreds of hours, thousands of squares.
Making all
we
those
thought it was a
squares.
good idea to paint those rather than print them.
Every pixel.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
No, it was.
It was a terrible idea from a financial standpoint.
But it looked great.
But
I mean,
at the end, I was, we actually said, "Are we going to stick with this?" And I asked Maxwell. I said, "Man, do you have it in you to do this?" And he was like, "All right." You'll see. He's really happy about it in the show. He's just he's just so delightful every time.
And to be fair, my co-host Michelle was on that show, right? Sorry, it's Michelle. I love them both. We do so many shows. Michelle painted some of those too.
Yes, she did.
So she took off at least 3 or 4 pixels. For them.
She lightened the load.
Picked off.
So that was probably, if you ask him, that would be probably one of the most difficult ones. And I'd say the DeLorean, it wasn't hard. It was just really involved. It was hundreds and hundreds of man hours making that thing.
Right.
And it's right in the middle of your shop.
You know, I never asked you, but I'm kind of curious, just the water aspect of having that inside the car and all the mechanics. Did you have to sort of...
Well, there was a little bit of thinking about that because, we've got a sound system and all sorts of electronics. So we actually cut the back end of that car out. We did what's called a blow-through from the interior of the car to the trunk. Then we created a fiberglass box that was sort of the barrier between the power supplies and everything. And then everything that was in the vehicle, as far as, if it was in the proximity of the hot tub, we tried to limit that to low voltage because that was our biggest concern.
Right.
But for the most part, there was no major concern as far as safety on that, but there was more concern of people getting in the jacuzzi, splashing around and getting water on LEDs and circuit boards, even though they're low voltage. I don't think it's good for it.
Right. I mean, hot tubs not inside of a DeLorean have electronics and lights and stuff like that, obviously. So
yeah, and I've never seen anybody put a hot tub in a DeLorean.
No. I haven't either.
Or
Well,
even-
actually, I have once. It was
Yeah,
on
one
our
time.
show.
One time.
So all right, we got a whole bunch of questions coming in now. So from, well, Bernie Sanders. I don't know if it's the actual candidate. I don't think it is because he spells it with a U. Bernie Sanders.
Maybe he's just like laying low.
Yeah, totally. Maybe Bernie Sanders loves our show. Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, he's got free time on his hands now that he's endorsed Hillary. But anyway, what's the largest prop that you have made? This is Bernie's question. What's the largest prop?
Largest.
Hugest.
We've done some pretty big stuff.
Yeah.
2 years ago, for a Super Bowl event, we did a 10,000-pound tree that was a display for a big beverage company at one of their private events. So that was very involved. And then we did a 35-foot tall, hydraulic-powered Olympic torch that rose up at an event on San Vicente in Santa Monica. Years back, that had a huge fireball at the top of it. So that was we used to do, and we still do. We do some large scale.
Wait, like an actual like fireball?
Yeah,
or,
yeah. No, this was like a full blown torch, and it had to be able to sit at ground level at about 12, 13 feet, and then we'd run it up what's called a ribbon lift. You guys look that up online. For people who are into mechanical, staging, a ribbon lift is just an awesome thing. And so we outfitted that with a fire pan and a fire bar, and rose it up and lit that thing, lit it off and ran it all night. It was a really cool prop. So those are my biggest ones as far as size.
Great, fun.
Yeah, I was on a team. We did the miniatures for the Matrix sequels. Mm-hmm. And we did the Zion miniature, which was probably the largest miniatures we've ever worked on.
That's cool.
It was, and it was. They were so big you couldn't call them miniatures. You felt kind of ridiculous calling them miniatures,
Right.
so we called them bigatures.
Yeah. So like how big? Like is it the size?
Well, the
of
gateway
this
to
room,
Zion, where you see the Mjolnir crash through the gates, it's like a climactic scene in the final Matrix movie.
Right.
The Mjolnir is actually over 30 feet long. The gates are 30 feet wide and 16 feet tall.
Wow.
A big portion of it was actually made out of lead, so it would rip apart and do all the things that metal does. And
Right.
we had the catwalks in front, and yeah, it was massive.
That's bigger
massive.
square footage than my house.
Yeah,
Like
it was like a roller coaster ride. The rig that would ride the Jeff Herron, a very talented special effects rigger with his team. They built this thing that looked like a roller coaster. It was all welded steel, and yeah, it was amazing, amazing. That was probably the biggest thing we'd ever done. There was an 80-foot long tunnel filled with all kinds of greebles that we did for Starship Troopers for a fly-through. Happens very quick, but it was this massive shot. Yeah, there's some big stuff,
Cool.
for these movies.
Big
it's pretty
stuff.
fun.
Speaking of big stuff, that's a horrible segue, but I'm going to it anyway. We got to say hi to Michelle, Leah, and Matt Stagmer, who are watching. Are they watching right now? Is that why we're saying hi? Hi, guys. Hi, ladies. Michelle and Leah are my co-hosts, and Matt Stagmer is our man-at-arms extraordinaire. So thanks for checking in. I know if you have questions for us, please hit us up at hashtag SFB Live. Let's see. Catherine Youngblood on Facebook. Have you guys ever turned down a build for any reason? Good question. Have you guys ever been like, I don't want to work with this person?
Usually just time.
Yeah.
We won't do anything in adult entertainment.
Okay. Well, there goes all of my build suggestions.
No, I've actually given that a lot of thought.
Yeah,
If you,
sure.
I mean, I've worked very, very hard to maintain a reputation in all these great movies, and if you do something as colorful as that, that's what everyone will talk about instead of these amazing movies you work on, because it's
Right.
juicy gossip.
So I guess Superfan Builds after hours. You won't be on that.
Yeah, I won't be on that one.
I think, in answer to that question, I won't build anything that, we've had people who want us to build specific rigs that we just don't feel will be safe, that we don't feel they're going to perform, as they're expecting them to. And so for those, very rare that it happens, but those are jobs that we'll say, you're going to have to figure that out on your own. We don't want to take that liability. And then the other thing is time. It's like, well, time and money. Usually, if they don't have time, then they need to have the money to get us to to get through the job. But we'll turn down jobs that just have no. We can't meet that expectation. We do have people who will call us like on a Friday night, say, is there any way that you could build a a massive thing by Monday morning. It's like, do you have a design? So
Right.
if they're not prepared to do it, so those are the rare occasions that we'd ever turn a job down.
Yeah. In order to make something of quality, you need time and funds. I mean, this is the old production triangle, right?
Yeah,
good,
that's right.
Good, fast, cheap.
Good,
Pick
fast.
two.
Pick any two.
Yeah, exactly. Can't get all three.
Yeah.
So, all right, from Mad Boy Central, Mad Boy, I guess that's his name.
Why is he so mad?
I don't know why he's so mad.
Cheer up, Mad
He's
Boy.
the central person of being
Central
so
of
mad.
anger.
He asks, "What was the coolest Superfan build? What's the build that you guys, if you could keep yourself, that you built this?"
Every time we do a build, we want to keep
Yeah.
it. Like
Right.
every time we do a build, that's our new favorite build. That's the way it's been
Yeah.
so far because
So
they're all
the answer is
so
the next build.
fun. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We want to keep them all. No, and that is totally legitimately true. Every time we
Yeah.
finish something, we're like, that's now our new favorite
Yeah.
build
Okay,
because
but
they're
now,
all
but now I've got
so
a gun
fun.
to your head. And I'm going to ask you a question. You got to pick one. Pick one of your children. What's
Oh,
it going
boy.
to be?
I don't think my wife would let me have the hot tub time machine in the driveway.
Okay, fair enough.
So,
Fair enough. Good. I'm glad you're thinking of her.
probably I'd probably put the WWE build into my man cave.
Yeah.
That would be.
That one's pretty
I
sweet.
hated to see that one go because
Yeah.
that one had all sorts of bells and whistles on
Yeah,
it.
and can I mention what the build was? Am I allowed to? Okay, that was a WWE Entertainment Center. Here you're actually seeing. This is not fully finished, obviously, but these are some pictures from that build. And man, it was really cool. I loved how many elements from the WWE and like the live experience you guys incorporated into the actual build. Like these are actual ropes from the ring.
Yeah.
Right?
That was actually, they were cool enough to send us that stuff. They sent us.
Here's some pads.
The actual mat. The canvas from one of the events.
Very cool.
So that's my favorite. What about you?
Cthulhu Fountain is probably
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. I'm excited.
favorite.
Do
We have a
picture?
drawing.
Oh,
We have
nice.
this is another Elliot Sirota illustration.
Very cool. Oh, it's so badass.
But so that is my
How-
current favorite
Yeah.
super fan build. That may change as we do more amazing things.
How
But
big is that guy gonna be?
that's 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Over 6 feet. I believe.
I wish I was 6 feet tall. Okay, we have 5 minutes. We're not going to talk about my insecurities. We're going to answer a whole bunch of questions. We're going to do like a rapid fire lightning round here. Let's see. Niels Berger on Facebook asks, "Do you guys get any props back that you made? Like, do you ever get to keep them from movies and stuff?"
Not super fan builds, but yeah, it does happen
Obviously not
occasionally.
super fan builds, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes, and during the mold making or casting process, we'll maybe make an extra one, just to have for
Yeah.
archives. So, but sometimes
nice.
I actually do work that into the deal with the production company or the prop master, like when they want something that's kind of outrageous and maybe it's not in their budget. I go, okay, I tell you what, we'll get it to you, but I want that back.
Yeah.
Is there any way I can get that back? So we've gotten some things back, and it's just nice to be able to keep some of those assets.
Yeah, most prop shops, if you get a chance to visit someone's prop shop, someone who's been in the industry as long as we have, it's kind of like a museum of things because there are a lot of things that you do end up keeping over decades that you get to put on display around the studio and
For
stuff.
sure.
It's great.
Yeah. It is like walking into like a museum, like a film history museum.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Okay, from Anything Outdoors on YouTube is asking, he's telling us a little bit about himself. Hey, I'm a 14-year-old male who lives in Canada, and personally I love building my own props, and I was just wondering if you can give me any advice.
On doing it professionally?
Yeah, maybe just, I don't know. Yeah, I guess doing it professionally or just how to keep the fire fueled on building.
Just start making things. When I was getting into this business, my first job in the industry wasn't as a prop maker. It was actually working for a really well-known prop house. And I used to just be amazed. That was my dream job, but I wasn't actually getting to do what I wanted to do. And one of the real vets at that company who just knew a little bit of everything said, just do it every day. Just do it. Just find a way to always be doing it. So if you're into this whole prop making thing and you're fascinated, start building your tools now. And anything from sculpting tools to glue sticks, little X-Acto blades, drill, and start building a collection of tools and take those tools and make something. Doesn't matter what it is, just make something and check out check out videos online. And One thing I think about prop makers in general is we're always happy to share our techniques with somebody who's interested in learning, because you have a lot of experience in this industry, and it's really fun to see other people and the younger generation building stuff with their hands and creativity.
Yeah, there's more available now than ever. Like, I am so jealous of people growing up in this day and age with the internet. Stan Winston School has a bunch of lessons on how to do special effects makeup and creature design and all kinds of stuff. I actually have a couple DVDs out on Amazon.com. You can get those. But also, I just released a video on YouTube like 2 weeks ago talking about exactly that, like how to get into the industry and what's important once you're in the industry. Not from the artistic side, but just from the professional side. So that's on YouTube if anyone wants to check that out.
Is there one takeaway from that?
Well, it's just basically be nice to people, hone your craft. I mean, because it sounds obvious, but it's really odd. In teaching, I've actually learned a lot about people wanting to get into the industry and working with students. And I'd say the number one thing is there's a lot of talented people out there, but they don't necessarily work well with others.
Sure.
And they haven't learned the kind of work ethic side of things and the expectations that employers will have once you get hired. Because it's different than when you're doing things at home. We always say if you could take away the budgets and schedules, we just call it play.
Right.
You know, but that's the part of it that really blindsides them. So I felt it was a very important message to get out there, that there's like this work aspect of doing this stuff professionally.
No, it makes sense. Like, at the end of the day, you want to be surrounded by people you enjoy being around.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to be spending all these hours in the shop.
Well, and that's one thing, is to do this for a living. It's not always like it looks on the behind the scenes. You don't see the hours we put in. If you're going to be a prop maker or get into effects, you're going to work long hours. And for those who show up, even if they have a little less experience, if they have a great attitude, they're easy to work with, and they're always willing to work the hours, once you get some skill set built, you're always going to be working, because we want that. We want that coming into our shops. We want it on our productions. There's just positive attitude, people who are willing to learn, and people who are just willing to put the hours in.
Nice. A couple just hellos to people on YouTube. We got Tina Marsh. Just give her a quick shout out. Hi, Tina Marsh. And hello to Ray Arias on YouTube. Thanks for checking in, guys. This has been an awesome conversation. We've only got a couple minutes left. We're going to do one or two more questions, and we'll wrap it up. And then, but if we miss any questions, you guys will we'll try to answer them online for you guys. So you can continue to tweet or comment at us. #SFB Live. Let's see. Let's jump to Andrew Shannon on YouTube. What's one build that you've wanted to do but haven't been able to do yet? Is there something that you're dying to make?
Wow.
I mean, you guys do a lot.
There's so many.
So it's kind of like...
No, actually, believe it or not, there's a lot. Yeah, for me, it's all about robots. I will never get enough of building robots and spaceships. Like, we're building a spaceship right now just because I want to. It's like
not for
crazy.
any project, it's just for you.
Yeah, it might be a mental thing. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, it's an addiction for sure.
And I'm really into drones and quadcopters and things of that nature.
Nice.
And I just want to build just a massive one and theme it, a themed one. I don't know what,
right.
but I'm so intrigued by the technology and just fascinated with that as a toy to have.
Sure.
But I've got the little one, like the little, quadcopters, but I just want to build something ridiculously huge that is just
Shane,
awesome.
I've got a wedding coming up, okay?
Right.
I'm just saying.
This is the sort of thing I want,
So an Indian wedding, there's a thing, it's called a barat. Okay, a barat. It's like when the Indian groom comes in. Usually it's on an elephant or something like that.
No, we're going to fly you in.
Can you fly me in on a drone,
Absolutely.
please?
Let's talk budget after the show.
Oh, I have to pay you?
Like an elephant.
Never mind.
Well, I'll give you a good deal if I can keep it. See?
Okay, all right, now we're talking.
Circles around. We circled
heard
back.
it here live. He agreed to do it for free. Is what I just heard. No, that would be insane though. That's amazing. Let's see. Okay, Tor Streisel on Facebook is asking, what's like the creepiest, strangest thing you've ever built? Is there anything that you've built that's given you the heebie-jeebies?
Huh. That's another interesting question. You know,
Get it out of my shop. It's creeping me out.
we did an infant cadaver that
Okay.
its belly had to move years
Ooh,
ago.
is this
That
for a
was
horror film?
Pretty creepy. It was for it was not for a horror film.
Okay, just
it
for
was
fun?
For a, no, it was for a TV show, crime scene type of show.
Got it.
So, but yeah, that was
yeah.
that was pretty creepy. you
Yeah.
know? Actually, my favorite part of that though was standing out on the sidewalk with it and just like holding it by its ankle and people driving by.
Oh gosh.
It's a prop. It's not a real.
It's not real. It's not real. Right.
What about you?
It was, the combination of guts and cockroaches actually
Ooh.
came up in a series of shoots.
You just taught me.
I'm hungry for lunch.
The insects, insects. When you, fortunately for me, I love insects, so it wasn't too bad. But just the combination of guts and insects.
Yeah.
It was actually more funny than it was gross. But I know that would give people the heebie-jeebies for sure.
For sure. All right, so last question. Let's the last question. I want to find something
This
real
was
good.
fun. I don't want
this
this
was
to
fun. I
end.
know. We had a good time. And we were all worried beforehand that we'd be like,
Yeah.
what are we going to talk about? And it's like, we have so much to talk about. This has been so
Stare
much fun.
awkwardly at the camera.
Yeah, exactly. Just
Hello.
riffing. Okay, how about this? Just this is kind of, it's not a specific question, but you know, Dimitri's6 at Dimitri's6 and at Batman Fighter 98 both asked about specific IPs, Ghostbusters and Dragon Ball Z build. Is there like an IP out there or a thing that we haven't done yet that you guys would be like, oh man, I can't wait to do a build for that?
I couldn't stop naming them. There's so many possibilities with this show, and
Like
that's
your
what
own personal favorite. Do you have anything that's?
I wouldn't mind doing something Ghostbusters for sure. That would be you know,
That'd be pretty
That would be cool to build like a themed vehicle or something for somebody. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
That's
How about
got some possibilities.
how about
Even
you,
like
Fon?
Those
The packs, the jet, not jetpacks. The ecto. I can't remember
those
what they're called
things.
now. The ectoplasm
Yeah,
packs.
backpacks.
What are they? You got it, James. James has got it. Proton packs.
Proton
Thank you.
packs.
Let's
Thank
build
you.
some proton packs.
Yeah.
actually, anyone paying attention to the show probably knows what I'm going to say. But Star Wars would
Yeah.
be great. Star Trek, either of those franchises
You like
would be
Star Wars?
amazing.
Those are huge.
Yeah, a little bit,
I wasn't getting that.
a little bit.
Okay, so Wars versus Trek. Are you guys both on the? You seem like you're both Wars folks.
I'm
Star
definitely
Wars-
I worked on the movies, so I'm a little
So you-
biased
yeah,
in
okay,
that
fair
direction. So
Star Wars, Star Trek. This is my last question.
You know what? I'm going to break a lot of hearts out there. I didn't really follow those.
You didn't like. You don't like.
I'm not saying I don't
You
like
hate them
them.
both. You're anti Star Wars and Star Trek.
I like them, but it's just not.
It's just not your thing.
I just never got drawn into it.
Yeah.
It's not. It's great
Ghostbusters,
when I
but
watch it.
well, you
I
have
go-
Battlestar Galactica.
Battlestar
Yeah, Battlestar
Galactica was
Galactica.
great.
Yeah,
and
that's
so-
okay.
I like that answer.
Yeah.
That passes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That works. That works. Well, hey, look. We're about wrapped up here, guys. It's been a total blast doing this with you, and I feel like I've learned more in this hour than I have in my 4 years of schooling. So thank you for this.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Glad to
pretty
be of
great.
service.
It was pretty great. And a quick note to our international fans: we know that our episodes are not. They're on Go90 exclusively, and Go90 is not yet international capable. But the first 2 episodes are going to be on YouTube and Facebook for you to enjoy, and then we are working on it. So we're bummed. We're sorry that the Go90 platform is not currently available outside the US, but we hope that's going to change in the near future. And we have a lot of really great content that's going to hit YouTube and Facebook. So stay tuned. Don't worry. It's not like we forgot about you. We love you guys and ladies out there who love our builds. Guys, this is it. I mean, we got it's lunchtime,
Yeah,
so
well,
we're gonna.
yeah,
I love
thought
that
we
we
were-
had that the entire show and just never referenced it
Yeah,
until.
it's just a snack. I've got. You want some of that?
No, thank you.
It's so good.
I'm going to have some taco,
Some sushi.
little Japanese.
Well, look, you're not gonna want to miss anything coming up on this on Superfan Builds in the upcoming weeks. We have episodes every Tuesday on Go90. We've got Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn, is gonna be in one of the episodes. He's gonna teach us a thing or two about how to build. So many great things coming up. We got. I'm just so excited about the DeLorean next week because I'm in that episode. So check that one out for sure. Check us out on Go90. It's been Superfan Builds, Superfan Builds Live. I'm Sandeep Parikh, and on behalf of Fawn and Shane, thank you so much for watching. Bye.
Bye.
Waving.